Hello everyone, in this video we're going to start to look at if you have a categorical data. For instance, you had the gender for 50 customers, and how can you using the visualization to representing their information. And so in the previous video we learned the method you can use for the quantitative data, and for the category data similarly we're going to learn the graphical visualization that are able to representing the same information you can find from frequency distribution, but more revealing the business insight. So therefore, we're going to starting from the bar chart, or we also call it column chart. And then in order to creating bar chart and column chart on Excel, you always has to creating your frequency distribution first before you can creating the bar chart. Okay, so let's look at what are the bar chart, and then after that we're going to look at the pie chart, and for the Pareto chart will be optional, and so hopefully as you're reading the text you will be able to understand what is a Pareto chart, but that is not the focus. For our class we're going to focus on the bar and the pie chart. So on the Excel, we are on the Excel call the column chart if the bar is vertically displayed, and they will call the chart as a bar chart if it's a horizontal displayed. What I want to share in the real world is that both chart we will consider as bar chart. So the main difference between the bar chart and histogram is that histogram we already learned is for quantitative data, and the bar chart is specifically for categorical data. So therefore, as you look at these two examples, both are used to representing our bar chart. Like I said, the Excel called the vertical and horizontal bar chart different names, but you just know both are bar chart. And then they try to the two examples are a little bit complicated. The key here is on the horizontal axis, we are using the horizontal axis to label each class. Okay, since it's the category data, the classes already classify in your data itself. So it's different from a histogram. For a histogram, we need to creating our classes. Remember the bins, and so for the histogram, since the bins for each class they are continually, so therefore there is no gap between bars. But that's not the case when we look at our bar chart. That is for the category data. So for instance, here we look at how often do you visit or use Instagram, right? And so we have the several times a day, about once a day. So you cannot see these two categories, they are next to each other. So they are two individual independent two classes. So therefore we intentionally keeping the gaps. Okay, we intentionally keeping the gaps. So therefore when you're creating the bar chart, and we want to keep in the gaps. Now in the histogram, I mentioned that when we're creating the histogram, we intentionally closing the gap. Okay, so when we look at the bar chart, our goal is not trying to look at the shape of distribution, but focusing on, hey, which classes have more frequency and which classes have less frequency. And from there, and we try to derive the business insight. And then so some tips for effective the bar chart. So the numerical variable of the interest usually is shown in the vertical bar on the y-axis. And if the quantity display is a time series, the categorical label for example years are displayed on the horizontal axis with the time increasing from left to the right. And the height or length of each bar should be proportional to the quantity displayed, so the frequency displayed. So this is easy because most software package default to a 0 origin on the bar graph. And we are adding numerical value at the top of each bar unless they would impair legibility. So the bar scale position is harder to read on 3D chart, and 2D chart are preferred. So the 2D chart are preferred. So Excel do offer you the 3D chart, so most of the time we just use 2D chart will be good enough. Okay, so in our next video we're going to look at how can we use Excel to developing our bar chart.